My name is Verina Chen, and I am pursuing my doctorate of musical arts degree in piano performance. I wrote my dissertation essay on YouTube and how artists and teachers and performers can have greater control, creative control, as they use YouTube as a tool to enhance piano teaching and piano performance. So with that, I wanted to start out with a little question. If you have not used YouTube in the past month, will you raise your hand? Oh, good. I didn't know what I would do if someone raised their hand, because I think YouTube is used quite frequently. I experienced using YouTube all throughout my career as a student, both at BYU during my undergrad and at the U. In theory classes and piano classes and all sorts of lessons. So what is YouTube? YouTube, I think you guys all know, is an internet-based video sharing service, and it provides a free and intuitive way for others to upload and share video content. So users may share and upload their content, create a personalized YouTube channel, upload videos to their channel, like, comment, share other YouTube videos, subscribe and follow other YouTube channels, and create playlists to organize videos and group videos. So YouTube is not only a place where you can put your content, but it is also a great way to network in today's very technological world. So, brief history of YouTube. YouTube began in 2005 with the founder Chad Hurley registering the trademark logo and domain in February of that year. That very same year, a couple months later, the very first YouTube video was posted, and it was of someone at the zoo. And later, only about a year later, in October 2006, Google purchased YouTube. And it was their first billion-dollar purchase of any other company. So this was a great deal when Google purchased YouTube. And after that, we all know that it took off from there. So today, YouTube has over 2 billion logged-in users that visit YouTube each month. Over 1 billion hours of YouTube videos are watched every single day. And YouTube is considered one of the most powerful tools for video entrepreneurship, marketing, communication, and music production. So, as I decided to discuss YouTube as my dissertation essay topic, I was a little bit hesitant because I thought YouTube isn't necessarily considered an academic source, yet we have so many performers today in the world and teachers that are known because they started on YouTube. So how is it not a viable source or a topic to discuss at this time in our lives? The current college student population has always lived in a world with computers and relies increasingly on smartphones and other mobile computing devices. In using them for personal and academic information, they do not necessarily see a boundary between the two. This is the context in which music is being researched, taught, and learned today. Therefore, it stands to reason that YouTube and similar sites are having an effect on teaching and research in music. Jim Frankel said, expanding your reach outside of the four walls of your classroom and school are crucial in maintaining relevancy in a youth culture with an ever-increasing appetite for all things digital. So I believe as it is our duty today as teachers in the millennium, as teachers in the 21st century, to be rigorously aware of our resources and also to be aware of what technology is out there so that we can better enhance our teaching and target the right audience as we have younger students growing up in the world today. So as I approached this topic, the main research methods that I focused my research were addressing academic articles that talked about the similar topics, technology and teaching, the flipped classroom, and I also interviewed locally and nationally renowned pianists. I will be talking about the interviews that I did with them and then showing you a clip of the interviews I did with several of those artists. And the final method that I tried is to create my own YouTube channel. So, the 4 topics that I will address during this presentation. I will first address YouTube and its effect in the private piano studio, and then YouTube YouTube's effect in the classroom, YouTube in piano performance, and the creation of my own personal channel. Okay, so YouTube in the private studio. This section, I was able to first gain interest in this topic because I came across the use of YouTube in my own private lessons as a student, and then I was able to interview these YouTubers, Dr. Josh Wright, Dr. Corey Hall, and Alicia Van Bitu of Piano TV. We will be going over each one of them in detail. So, as a student, Dr. Janae. Janae just talked about Dr. Irene Fury-Fox and her experience growing up with this wonderful teacher who has a great background in and credentials in piano performance and pedagogy. As a student of hers, this year I went to go, very early in the year when I was preparing for a recital, I went to get a lesson on my recital material. As I played and finished playing my Bachk toccata in D minor, she wanted to refer me to a video on YouTube. And before all the years growing up with her, she would previously have gone to her CD library that she has in her studio. Janae remembers this. And she has a massive library full of CDs of the greatest performers, the greatest artists, the greatest recordings. And she takes a second, a couple of minutes to find the recording, and she gets it out, and she's trying to talk to you as, she's finding all these things. And then she opens up her CD player, and she puts the disc in, and it takes her a second to find the track, and then to fast forward to this specific movement, and then she clicks play, and finally you can hear the recording she would like to show and demonstrate. But this lesson this year, it was so different because she pulled out her iPad, she brought up YouTube on her iPad, and she looked the performer up and played it for me right at the lesson. It was so fast, it was way faster than it had ever been before growing up taking from her, and it saved that much more lesson time. So I went home that day, I was able to look it up myself on YouTube because it's so accessible to the general public, and I could rehearse with the recording. Another example, here at the U with Dr. Ning Lu. We all know Dr. Ning Lu is very respectable, and I was playing my Liszt Paganini Etude No. 1. During the lesson, he said, "You're not quite getting the first run right," and I wasn't, and he went to the computer, pulled up a recording of the Liszt Paganini Etude, and played it right there in the lesson. And right away, I was able to get a better perspective and gain a better understanding of how the piece was supposed to be played. So, yet another instance of how YouTube is used in the professional academic setting. So, let's go into our first interview. Dr. Josh Wright is a Billboard No. 1 artist. If you don't know him, he's also an instructor here at the U. And he obtained his DMA degree from the University of Michigan and holds his Master's of Music degree and Bachelor's of Music degree from the University of Utah. So he's released 7 albums, and he's quite renowned in the online community and internationally. So Josh Wright's YouTube channel is called Josh Wright Piano TV. And on August 22nd, I was able to interview him over Skype. At that time, that's about two months ago, he had 82,000 subscribers. In October, last month, he had 92,000 subscribers. And yesterday, when I checked, he had 94,800 subscribers. It's amazing how many people he's able to reach through the use of YouTube. In 2009, he posted his first videos, and he used it for mostly documenting his own progress, and addressing his own students. So it included videos of organized practicing and accuracy. In 2014, he started, in addition to his YouTube channel, a pro practice website, which is an addition to his business, where he started selling tutorials online. And in 2017, he started an additional website series called the VIP Masterclass series, where he has subscribers ask questions specifically for him to address in a private video, and he sends that off to them for a small fee. So this year marks the 10th year of Dr. Wright's postings, And right here, during our interview, he related that it was a way for him to document and remember the various techniques that he would learn from master classes and various artists that he had met. So I wanted to play a clip from our interview, and I posted it on my channel.
Yeah, it's a great question. There's so many things that you could pursue. I would say don't ever think that, and obviously from our conversation you don't think this way, but I would give this advice to anybody graduating. Don't think that there's only one path to success. So I still make a little bit of money performing each year. I make some private teaching, and then I make some Skype lessons, and then I make some with my online courses, and then I also make some through like YouTube ad revenue and Amazon affiliates. Like if somebody buys that microphone using my affiliate link, I might make a couple dollars, but when you have tens of thousands of people doing that, it's a few $100s a month extra, you know? So there's so many streams of revenue. And I would say as you build, if you're wanting to go the online route, you know, contacting people like me or other people that teach online, because people are always saying, oh, I would love to take lessons with you, but because my schedule is so jam-packed with recording and all these things, my rates are quite high. And so I just am like, I could refer you to somebody else, but I only have a couple of students that teach at the intermediate level. And so, you know, networking is really important. And then I would say if you're wanting to go that technological route as well, doing Skype lessons, doing the you know, social media route, you really start listening or studying really world-class marketers and just put out as much content as you can. I would say the more value you bring to someone's life, the more you get back.
So Dr. Wright emphasizes the importance it is for us as musicians to not only do well in our you know, in-person interactions, but in order to survive in the world today, we almost have to be open to other avenues of revenue and other ways to support ourselves as artists so that we can continue doing the things that we love. Dr. Corey Hall is the second YouTuber that I was able to get in touch with and interview. Dr. Corey Hall is based in Florida, and he has his background in a piano performance and pedagogy. And in September, I was able to interview him. At that time, he had 105,000 subscribers. Last month, he had 106, and this month, he has 107,000 subscribers and counting. In September 2008, 3 years after YouTube launched, he started his first channel, and it was initially for leisure and fun. He remembers playing all of Bach's two-part inventions in one night and recording them for his YouTube channel. And then in 2012, he started teaching piano via Skype, and he started running his own similar, like Dr. Wright's website and subscription website, he started his own as well. So that's Dr. Corey Hall's a little history. And when I asked him about his opinion on YouTube, he said, YouTube is very effective. Today in 2019, it's very much different than it was in 2008, 2009. I think today YouTube is the first go-to tool for learning piano. I think it's never been better, and then at the same time, you also have to weed out what you can use and what you can't use. Because now with everyone having channels, everyone having videos, and everyone having opinion, it's like the Wild West. You have to be very selective if you're a pianist or a teacher because there's just so much on there. So you can't just simply believe everything you hear somebody say, or you can't put so much stock into one person's performance because there are hundreds and thousands of performances of the same work. I couldn't agree more. I think we are all aware at the academic level that we are at, we cannot be blindly YouTube followers, right? Because just like Google and other search engines that are not academic, YouTube is not always very reliable. It doesn't always have the best sources, so that is the downside, and you have to be so careful. Hopefully with the background and education that you have received, you are able to weed out what is reliable and what it isn't reliable, but it is just like that Spider-Man quote, right? With great power comes great responsibility. And so with YouTube, Dr. Corey Hall emphasized that point. So one of his advice points was to broaden our horizons in the area of music and music teaching. I thought he had a really interesting thing to say during our interview. Here's that little clip.
I had a hard time. I had a hard time finding jobs when I finished my doctorate. And if it weren't for YouTube and for my recognition and my success with teaching on Skype, I don't know what I'd do. I'd probably still be part-time at the junior college where I used to teach, which is not a bad thing, but it was a part-time job with no benefits. And I, back in the 1994, 95, when I finished my doctorate and I was looking for university positions, I had a hard time because I had to compete with 200 other people for each position. Regardless of how good you are, everybody has doctorates and everybody wants that job. So I had a hard time. I remember, just to be honest, in 1994, 95, when I was finishing up my doctorate, I was actually on the verge of changing careers. Wow. I was almost ready to go into something else. I was considering computers, like computer programming. I was considering culinary school, culinary arts. Wow. I've always liked cooking. So yeah. I really seriously was considering going into something else because I thought, oh, this is just it's a battlefield dealing with this. But I sort of just persevered, and eventually, thank God, YouTube was invented, and I eventually got some recognition. And then for the past 7 years, I have been able to do that, teach piano full time, and make a living doing that.
So again, YouTube is a source for more than one person, and there's lots of room on it for artists who maybe not want to take the traditional route and teach in a university after you graduate. Hugh here hopes to get a teaching position after they graduate with their doctorates or master's degrees. Yeah, that's wonderful, and I think that's wonderful. And I think the most talented people do end up getting those jobs, but a lot of the time, very talented people don't. And it's not because maybe they're any less worthy, but because of the opportunity, the specific time, perhaps the relationship that they had with the committee at that time. So YouTube is just another resource for us musicians and artists out here. So the third and last private studio teacher that I was able to get in touch with was a Canadian YouTuber. Her name is Alicia, and she actually doesn't have any degrees in piano performance. So I was quite impressed when I saw that she has been able to make such a following and a great living, and she's a wonderful teacher online. Again, like the other YouTubers, you can see some of the subscribers and statistics that she has been able to have and gain over the past years. She actually started in 2015. So unlike Josh Wright and Dr. Corey Hall, she hasn't had that much time yet. She has been able to make for herself a career and provide online instruction for hundreds of students. So a little bit of advice from Alicia and a little history. She said, last year I put out my first video course. Right now I have 40 students going through weekly lessons, so they're all doing assignments at the same pace and they can interact with each other. We essentially send files back and forth, so instead of a scheduled private lesson where we both have to show up at the same time, they can record their piece at 2 o'clock in the morning. It doesn't matter. Just send it to me and I can review when I have the chance. So with the increase in technology, if you find yourself being very busy, you can start teaching, these students internationally. And one thing that she pointed out is YouTube is accessible no matter where you are, almost anywhere in the world, and you can access it anytime you'd like. So it provides a little bit different approach to teaching if that's something you're interested in doing. Alicia emphasizes that it just takes a lot of consistency. If you start YouTube videos, that you just have to be very consistent, and it takes a little bit of time for you to gain a following and to start your business. Okay, YouTube in the classroom. So Aaron Garner, has anyone heard of pianomarvel, the piano learning software? Okay, when I was at BYU, all of the graduate students had to teach class piano. And Janae is familiar with the software, but we were asked to teach a class of, how many students would we teach on average? Janae, how many do you think?
About 10 or 12 in class.
10 or 12. Yeah, and so if you think about it, teaching piano to 12 people in the same class, you know, that can be exhausting. You're running back and forth. Everyone has their own pace. Everyone is at their own pace. They have their own questions. Aaron Garner developed this software called pianomarvel, and pianomarvel uses YouTube to provide instructional videos and tutorials for each student. So during our interview, Aaron Garner talked a little bit about his business and pianomarvel's capabilities.
That's actually a really good question. I just recently got back from NCKP, that's in Chicago, and read a really cool quote that asked, "Are you preparing your students for their future or for your past?" And I thought about that, and I thought it's true that we were taught a certain way, and we see that the system worked. It got me to where I am. But the future is changing so rapidly, it's hard for anybody to know where it's going. It used to be that you could take a course on how to learn Excel, and that's how we used to teach. Now, you don't do that. If a student needs to know how to use a program, they go YouTube it. They say, how do I do this? How do I do that? And they just learn it instantly. So you have to learn how to learn. And so if you're a teacher stuck in this, and I feel like we're at a verge here, we're about to experience an innovation in pedagogy, in piano pedagogy, that we've never experienced. It's almost like there's going to be a line drawn, like before and after. Like this is BC and this is after that. So I think we're going to see such an innovation in piano pedagogy, and it's all going to be focused around the technological tools that are now being developed and that will be developed in the near future. As a piano teacher, it almost makes you want to just throw your hands up and say, please, retirement, come faster so I don't have to deal with it. But on the other hand, if you can delve in and learn to enjoy the process of change, you're in for a ride. And it's going to be a great thing to be a piano teacher, teaching in this new era.
Yeah.
But I would take it slow. Don't try to change everything you have overnight, because it could be frustrating, and it's hard to see outside the box. It's hard to look outside the box and see what's happening. You almost have to just take it and step into the darkness and discover what's there and just start innovating and doing it, but do it at a slow pace, but consistent. Every week, do something new with your students and think of this as your education.
So again, I know that the traditional methods of teaching are prevalent in our world today, and I think most universities use the traditional methods of teaching, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's effective and it's wonderful. Just like Aaron Garner said, YouTube and technology should be used to enhance the way we teach, not to take away. So it's something we should all be aware of as we continue forward. Janae, will you share with me a little bit of how, teaching it with pianomarvel versus teaching without it affected your efficiency at BYU? Because I'm biased, of course, but what is your experience?
I noticed with my I was teaching at BYU using pianomarvel was that they could take the course and the lessons at their own pace. So if you have in this class, ability level can be quite diverse. You've got some that have never touched the piano before, quite literally, and then others that have played a long time. And so as a teacher trying to guide them all in a course, it can be frustrating for those that are more advanced. So with pianomarvel, they were able to pace themselves at their own rate. And if they were more advanced and could move through faster, then they could cover more material, and it was satisfying to them because pianomarvel gave them the chance to pass things off on their own. You still checked in with them, but it was self-guided in many, many ways. And so it was really good for a classroom setting.
I think pianomarvel is a topic of its own, but you know, I found the same efficiency teaching with it. You know, students who were at a level 1 could go into the level 1 category, and they would get graded, and they would get certain amount of stars on their performance, and it was interactive and it was fun for them. Okay, so our next topic is YouTube in piano performance. What I mean by piano performance is YouTube's role in the lives of very successful piano performers today. I think all of us have at least heard of or know of Valentina Letista. She is the very first person that came to my mind when I was thinking of piano performers and YouTube. I was also able to get in touch with Melody Brown of the Five Browns. They are a group of 5 siblings who perform and provide master classes internationally. And the second piano performance group was Greg Anderson and Elizabeth Joy Rowe from Anderson and Rowe. They are both Juilliard graduates, a husband and wife, very successful pianists who are touring the world today. So we'll be able to hear a little bit from all of them in a second. I did contact Valentina Letista. Of course, she is so popular that she was not able to sit down with me. But if you guys know of her, she was one of the very first, if not the first, pianist who was able to skyrocket her career through the use of YouTube and posting her own videos online. She has 500,000 subscribers on her channel today, and she has more than 200 million YouTube views. Valentina Letista is also known as the Queen of Rachmaninoff, and she is one of the first classical artists to have converted her internet success into a global career. Melody Brown. So I wasn't able to meet with all 5 Browns over Skype, but Melody Brown is on the bottom right corner. She is the younger of the 5 Browns, and she was able to meet with me over Skype. So the 5 Browns, if you don't know them, they are 5 siblings that have performed for quite some time together. They all went to Juilliard, and they are currently touring the world. They have a lot of music videos, and they were one of the first performers to start making music videos online. So a little clip from our interview with Melody.
When did you and your siblings first start filming YouTube music videos and other online platforms? I know that you have Vivo as well. Mm-hmm. So can you kind of talk me through that process?
Well, actually, we started with the whole music video process back when we were recording with Sony. And so this is going to age us, but we've been around for a while. We've actually been touring for 15 years. So when we first came on the scene, Sony really believed in, back in the day, there was the technology called the dual disc. Uh-huh. So on one side was the music, and on the other side were music videos. And so, and that was all the rage right when we came on the scene. And so they put a ton of effort and financial expense into making these videos. So the first videos we did were out on the Salt Flats in Utah. Cool. In the Bonneville Salt Flats, and then also in a hangar in Windovers. And both of those, that was the Firebird on the Salt Flats and the Copeland's Shaker Hymn, Simple Gifts. And then we also did in the hangar in Wendover a music video with Rhapsody in Blue. So those 3 videos were kind of our first with Sony, and we've kind of been making videos ever since. It's just sort of changed. We've changed our format and how we work them.
So, as we don't have time to listen to her whole interview, but I will summarize. One thing that she said was, as technology has increased, her performing group has taken more creative control and taken music video production into their own hands. So right now most of the music video production you see today, they have so much input, and because everything is so accessible, they have more creative control. So an interesting quote, she said, "We feel like we saw the Berlin Wall fall in the music industry. And in the record industry specifically, we kind of saw when classical labels were still classical labels, and now they're kind of a conglomeration of a lot of different types of music, all under the guise of classical music. So we sort of saw all of that change, and a lot of that bothered us at the time. So we ended up taking much more of a role in our own video making and in our own recording, just so that we had more control over our own brand. That's what we've been doing for the past 5 years, really taking hold of our own group and what we want to say and to show people. So everything you've seen in the past 5 years has been specifically produced by us." Okay, on to Anderson and Rowe. During their time at Juilliard, that's when they really started their YouTube output, and they said, "We asked around some video makers to see if they could help us, and the prices they were quoting us were far, far beyond any college student's dreams." Actually, I think I included this in our video clip, so let's just go straight to that.
Yes, actually, YouTube was our main platform. It started because what we do is so choreographed and physical, and we were writing these arrangements for 4 hands at a single piano, in which our 4 hands almost become like 4 feet on a dance floor, and we were deliberately writing in a degree of choreography, like dance steps with our hands. And up close where we were seated, that looked so cool and fun, and it still looks really cool for the audience when they're hundreds of feet away. But we really wanted to be able to take our audience up into our perspective and let them see this really close. So we asked around some video makers to see if they could help us. And the prices they were quoting us were far, far beyond any college student dreams. And so we decided to take things into our own hands and make these videos ourselves. Using Liz's mom's camcorder and my iMovie that came free on my computer. And we started putting those videos together, and then, yes, we put it up onto YouTube, not really knowing the reach of YouTube or its fullest potential, but we put them there because, as we said, we wanted to make the music more accessible to people. We wanted to bring people up into our world, and we really wanted to find ways to highlight the spirit of these pieces that we were playing.
So again, they started as poor students, and they really are prime examples of artists who have taken into their own hands their own careers. Greg talks about how he used Elizabeth's mom's cam recorder and iMovie on his laptop. So this is something that is accessible to almost everyone, even anyone who has a phone in their hand, really. They said, "Now even more than any time, a lot of boundaries are coming down, and people are trying new things, and in a sense, the artist has a ability to carve a path for themselves that sometimes hasn't been charted before. And that's really exciting because sometimes the old patterns and traditions or ways of getting a career aren't working. So I think that's a way to encourage independence and passion, which is all that we're about." Okay. Now we talk about my embarrassing channel that I started to conduct research and to see if this was actually plausible for someone trying to pursue something in music. I started my own channel a couple months ago. It's called the VC Studios channel, And I have 100 subscribers exactly today. So isn't that great? I really began posting my own performing videos, not specifically for YouTube, in November of 2016, and that's just been my student recitals, my audition recitals. Back then I had 0 subscribers. No one watched my performing videos or my recital videos. I mean, who wants to watch the videos of undergraduate piano performance major at BYU? I don't know. But it was really interesting because this June, this year earlier, I started really posting and making videos special for my YouTube audience. I did an introduction to the channel video, technique tutorials, teacher-parent relationship advice, teacher-student videos. I started in July to post my first student feature. I'll show you my channel in a little bit so you can visualize this. But in August, just a couple of months ago, I posted my first guest feature video, which I have been showing you guys with Anderson and Rowe. The videos that you just barely saw, I started posting those on my channel. And then in September, I started to branch out and try different things. I started my first piano talk video where I take on a different approach. We talk about piano topics. And then I started vlogging more. So I'm going to show you a little bit of my channel and demonstrate how this has started. So here is my channel. I got a really cute logo and I put it there and I started posting videos like crazy. Here on YouTube you can have different categories. So if you want to specialize in a certain topic, you can do that. You can organize your output and your content into playlists. So here are some playlists. Here are my student features. Let's see a student feature. Oh no, that's not good. This is my most recent student feature.
Hi, my name is Marcus. Today I am going to play O Pick Dano. Hope you enjoy.
So that's an example of a student feature. I had some kids do a Halloween special. And none of their performances are perfect, but it's a great way to make teaching fun, and it's motivating for your students, especially students that are growing up watching videos every day. At least it gives them something to work towards and to be proud of. So some students are really shy. They don't like to do it, but it's just an option. I have about 50 student features now. Here's a collaborative recital playlist that Janae and I performed just this last semester, and it has all of our performances from that night. Here are the guest interviews that you guys saw during my presentation today. Here's the more casual approach to YouTubing, a day in the life videos where I filmed my day getting ready for our recital, and then piano talk. Most of these are with Janae, and we just talk about piano. We talk about anything related to piano products like the PageFit Firefly, Bluetooth page turner, and then here are my earliest videos of my BYU solo recitals. So that just gives you a little bit of a look into my channel. The only playlist that I would like to address before I conclude is my piano technique channel. This is a more interactive take on piano teaching online. This is very simple, and I'm not playing a Chopin etude, but I will show you what it's like for me to refer this to my students who would like a more interactive way to practicing. So this is a video I made for my students to play along with. It's the Group 1 Major and Minor 5-finger scales, and I decided to put these specific keys in them. So I'm going to play along from some 5-finger scales for you guys. Here we go. this is just an example of something you can do. You know, if you'd like to take a more technical approach to these videos, you can create these, and they're an excellent resource for your students. Once you make a video, you can refer it to hundreds or millions of people, as many as you'd like. So you make it once, and it can be referred to forever, or as long as YouTube exists. Okay, so as a conclusion to my research, there are drawbacks. Of course, with the creation of your own YouTube channel or any technology or reference to technology in general, there's limited access to tools. Not everyone can afford the best quality. Not everyone has access, especially if your students are 5 to 10 years old. They probably don't have their own technological device. It's time-consuming and demanding to produce content. That's just it. Time is money, right? And we all value our time. To make these videos, it's very time-consuming and it's demanding, and there's a learning curve. You have to learn how to edit. You have to be willing to learn how to edit. You have to learn how to film. You have to learn how to work with audio. If you want good quality, you really have to sacrifice your time to learn how to do all these things. And then again, I referred to this earlier, but your students may not all be able to gain access to a computer or a phone. And you probably don't want them to. They need to be practicing. But those are some drawbacks as a creator. The advantages, however, are the accessibility. This is quite accessible. If you wanted to start your own YouTube channel with your phone and start uploading content, that's great. It's convenient. It gives you more creative control. We heard from the 5 Browns and Anderson and Rowe that YouTube grants them an opportunity that was not granted to them previously through other realms. It gives you the ability to take that control and to act and to do. YouTube is an opportunity. It's not mandatory, but it's an opportunity for you if you'd like to enhance your career. And then, of course, you guys saw my student feature. I have so many students who, since I started these features on YouTube, they have come to their lessons prepared instead of coming before not playing well and not practicing. So I've seen a lot of great things happen with the start of my YouTube channel, and I hope to continue posting content and experimenting with this side of things as even after my degree here is over. So with that, I'd like to conclude my presentation, but are there any questions?